Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Professor Ipshita Bansal from BPS Women's University, Sonipat, Haryana. Today we will be discussing about the module HQD lessons from Panchtantra of the paper Indian Perspectives on Human Quality Development. By the end of this module, the students will be able to understand what is Panchtantra, learn about Tantras as the precious treasures of Panchtantra, and appreciate the HQD lessons to be learned from Panchtantra. India possesses a rich legacy which is full of morals and value-based fables. In today's era of competition, where distinctiveness is the sign of achievement and growth, it turns out to be incredibly significant to recognize and realize the teachings from our Indian heritage and put them into practice for everyday working. The learnings in the form of fables can be found in the Panchtantra. The Panchtantra stories were written in 200 BC by Vishnu Sharma. From that time, these stories have been translated into many languages. With the foundation of ancient traditions in the beginning, these Panchtantra tales were written in Sanskrit. The tales are short with the lucidity of language, helping it to be simple so that it can be easily understood. These tales are for everybody. The age is no bar. From generations to generations, Panchtantra stories teach the difference between right and wrong deeds. These tales always end with the moral giving us the life lessons to be followed in our day-to-day lives. Panchtantra is a precious compilation of short stories from the ancient land of India. These Panchtantra fables acts as the foundational moral stories and as the guidance for maintaining relations, negotiations, peacekeeping and trade. King Sudarshan's 3 children in the splendid court of Mahilaropya were not willing to study. So they were sent under the guidance of Vishnu Sharma, and they were transformed in no time. With the endeavor of making young princes learn the art of politics and strategies and make them wise, Vishnu Sharma wrote Panchtantra to spread the wisdom in the form of short stories. These stories consist of the characters as animals which speak like humans and communicate positive moral values. After paying attention to these stories and implementing and working on the lesson learned in these stories, all the 3 princes became knowledgeable and skilled in politics and became proficient administrators. Panchtantra is a precious treasure. The author Vishnu Sharma emphasized that a man who has studied this Niti Shastra or listened to its precepts will never be defeated, not even by Indra, the Lord of the heaven. Panchtantra, that is 5 principles. The name Panchtantra was selected with a purpose and meaning behind it. Panch refers to 5 and Tantra refers to strategies or principles. Thus, Panchtantra comprises of 5 volumes with life principles. These 5 volumes include many stories that provide every individual a guidance concerning diverse aspects of day-to-day life and livelihood. Through these volumes, the essential value of life are gathered and shared in form of motivating and inspiring stories. These stories are very effective medium of educating values, morals and ethical lessons not only for children but for individuals of all age groups. So, what are the lessons for human quality development? Panchtantra teaches various facets of human quality development to each individual for their personal and professional life. The lessons can be related to work, supervision, diversity, harmony, unity, and team building, etc., to have a peaceful and calm life at work and in personal domains. Panchtantra is an extraordinarily creative and innovative way that teaches the lessons that are very much appropriate and relevant at workplace, and it provides the guidance to manage resources in a better way so that there can be finest utilization of available resources. It also provides guidance for mutual understanding between one another so that the harmonious environment can prevail. The different tantras of Panchtantra are loss of friends, pragmatism, relationship building or gain of friends, loss of gains, and considerate action. Considering how Panchtantra spreads the HQD lessons like motivation, passion, altruism, empathy at work, planning and designing job, selecting and staffing, etc., we realize that the tantras of Panchtantra are interrelated. Due to the interconnection, it aids in strengthening the purpose of human quality development for overcoming the problems in the business world. It is true that in any organization or institute cannot achieve the growth in seclusion. The tantras of Panchtantra. To develop the quality and leadership skills, it is important to create a positive atmosphere for growth and respect for one another. For developing human quality, the focus is not only on the performance of people, but also on their manners, conduct, and activities. Thus, interrelating the tantras of Panchtantra with HQD, various life lessons can be learned. So, with respect to HQD, the 5 tantras can give us various lessons. First is Mitra Samprapti, that is gaining of friends. It relates to relationship building, teamwork, morale, leadership, communication. Aprikshita Karakam, considerate action. It relates to selfless motives, working with thoughtfulness, etc. Third is Kakolokiam, that is pragmatism. It relates to logic, training and development. Then we have Labdh Pranasam, that is loss of gains. It is related to earning money with ethical means. Then Mitra Bhed or separation of friends. This is related to how to fight with competitors or assurance of equality. Mitra Samprapti. One of the fables of Panchtantra gives the lesson of relationship building, teamwork and better communication. It is the story of 3 friends and a hunter. Once in the jungle, there lived 3 friends. These 3 friends were a crow, a mouse and a deer. All 3 used to live together and also share their meals. One day, a turtle came to them and said, "I am alone. I want to be your friend and thus want to unite your companionship." On this, the crow said, "You are most welcome to join us. However, let us know about your individual safety and your strength." The crow further added that there are many hunters in the jungle and these hunters used to visit jungle on regular basis. So, presume a hunter comes, then how will you save your own self? On this, the turtle replied, That is the motive for which I want to join your group." As they were talking to each other, the hunter emerged. Looking at the hunter, the deer ran away, the mouse rushed into its hole, and the crow flew high in the sky. The turtle also tried hard to creep away fast, but was in vain, as it was caught by the hunter. The hunter soon tied the turtle in the net. However, he was sad, as he was unable to catch the deer. At the same time, he thought instead of being hungry, it was better to eat the turtle. The three friends turned to be more worried to see the turtle in the trap of hunter. They wished to free the turtle from hunter, and so they made some plans. Accordingly, the crow flew high in the sky and found the hunter walking by the side of the river. The deer, as per plan, ran unseen at the forefront of the hunter and lied down as it was dead. The hunter spotted the deer from a distance, reclining on the soil, and thus was very excited to have found it. He said that, "Now I will have lavish food, and will also earn good by selling the striking skin of the deer." Consequently, he put the turtle on the ground and started marching towards the deer to catch it. Unaware of the plan, the hunter went to catch the deer. At this time, the plan was executed perfectly. The rat cut the net, and now the turtle was free. Along with this, it quickly crept away into the river. The deer unexpectedly stooped up and ran away in the jungle. The hunter was now disappointed to see this and returned back to the net. But there was no turtle. At the same time, he was shocked and fearful, as he was not able to understand that how this miracle happened. As a result, the hunter quickly went back, and the friends started living happily together. So, what are the HQD lessons that we gain from this? The story ends with a management message of proper coordination of a team. Coordination is a function of management. To deal with any situation, all the members of the team should take care of the following aspects. First, to have a common picture of the entire work that has to be done. All the members of the team should know what they have to do before initiating any task. Like all the three friends, deer, crow, and rat first decided their task, which is to be performed individually. Common goal. If we don't know our objective of working, then all the efforts are a waste. All the three friends had the same objective of rescuing the turtle. To know the strengths of individual. All the individuals are different from each other in terms of their skills and strengths. That is why it is important to know the strength of an individual before giving him a role in the team. Like the rat's strength was to cut the net, the crow's strength was to fly, the deer's strength was to run fast. Each of them used their strengths well to execute the task. Planning. Once the individual role is defined in the task, it is important to make a proper plan to execute. The estimated time for a task is to be calculated, and also the available resources. Communication between the team players. Communication is the most important activity for proper coordination. In the story, the communication was through the informal mode of gestures and touch. Mitra Bhed. This section of Panchtantra is full of stories that talk about the strength of unity, overcoming the power of enemy, and wrong and misleading influences by outsider. It also talks about importance of equality and not to be biased in dealing with different people. The story titled as The Price of Indiscretion helps us understand the concept of Mitrabhed in more depth. This story starts with a person named Ujjwalka, who was a cart maker, but as the orders for cart making were very less, he was suffering from poverty. He was getting weaker day by day, both physically and mentally. One day he thought that all people here have some work to do that plays them, but I don't have a proper home and a proper job to feed and provide shelter to my family. Thinking this, he left the town with his family in search for some better work. As he was passing from the jungle, he had a glimpse of a female camel that was in pain. By looking closely at it, he realized that this camel was left behind from the group of camels as she was toiling with labor pain. He gave that camel some water and grass. Through this, she improved and also gave birth to the small baby camel. Next day, at the crack of dawn, Ujjwalka took the camel and the baby along with him to his home. Thus, the camels got the new home and were happily living there. Ujjwalka affectionately tried the bell in the neck of the growing camel baby. He started selling the milk of mother camel and he earned fairly good for a better living. Through this, he felt that selling the camel milk was easy and good business. So why not get some more camels to make the business profitable? As a result, he went to the merchant, borrowed some money and bought another camel. It was a start, and in an year he bought many camels. As a consequence, the cart maker became rich and lived a contented life. He used to take care of all the camels, young or old, but his much beloved camel was the one who wore the bell. It was the first baby camel he had. All the camels in the morning used to go to the nearby jungle areas to eat the grass and drink water of the lake. These camels returned to their homes before sunset. The baby camel with the bell was the one who was many times slow or moved here and there instead of being with other camels. Many times he was asked to be together, but he used to wander on his own. He never listened to his fellow mates. He knew that as he was favorite of his master, so he would never be scolded. So what was the price of indiscretion? One day, as the camels were grazing in the nearby jungle, a lion came roving. He was influenced by the sound of the bell. The lion observed a baby camel with the bell, and as the baby camel was not moving with the group, the lion followed him, jumped on him and killed him. HQD lessons. Leadership. The leadership in the organization should distribute responsibility among the team members equally. Leadership should understand that each contribution is necessary for an outcome, no matter how small or big it is. Favoritism. Favoritism leads to lack of equilibrium in the group, leading to loss of synergy in the group. As per the story, the cart maker awarded the bell to the young camel without any reason, just because the young camel was his favorite. This award made the young camel to develop to ego, as he was the only camel to get such an award. In this way, he stopped listening to other colleagues, even in the elder ones. This resulted in paying high price by losing his own life. Also, the cart maker lost his favorite camel. Other lessons from the story. If we want to flourish in our career and want our organization to be successful, it is essential for us to have a strong, healthy relationship with co-workers and learn to give respect to the elders. A person who foolishly refuses to follow good advice surely comes to pain. Kakoloquium. This section talks about working with logic by looking around at the situation. As it is described in this section of Panchtantra that bend before the enemy when he is strong, attack him when he is vulnerable. Don't wage a war if it doesn't bring power, wealth or friendship. Here, the story of the king and the foolish monkey explains the concept of right placement of people at right place. Kakoloquium. Once upon a time, there was a king who had a monkey, and that monkey was very much dear to him. The monkey lacked in intelligence and many times used to do the foolish deeds. Still, he was treated nobly. The monkey used to move everywhere in the palace very freely with no restrictions. Even the king's personal rooms' doors were open for him. The entry to these doors were prohibited to all others. Thus, they were closed for others, including the private servants. One day in the afternoon, the king was sleeping, and the monkey sat beside the king to observe and keep watch. Suddenly, a fly entered the room and sat on king's body. As soon as the monkey saw the fly sitting on king's body, he swayed it away. However, the fly flew away only for a few seconds and again came back to be seated on the king. Looking at this activity of fly, the monkey became furious and restless. The unwise and thoughtless monkey started chasing the fly with a sword. In a little while, as the fly again sat on the king's body, using all the strength, the monkey hit the fly to kill it. Nevertheless, the fly flew away uninjured without a single scratch. On the other hand, the king was brutally injured. What are the HQD lessons that we learn? In short, the lessons that this story presents are: the king allowed a foolish, untrained favorite to serve him in his personal chambers but disallowed any trained attendant. The monkey tried to counter a situation for which he neither had the skills or experience. The tool, that is the sword, used by the monkey was not appropriate in the given scenario, neither had he any training to use it. The foolish monkey did not seek the help of a skilled attendant when he was faced with a situation that he did not have the skills to overcome. The silent part of the story explains the one of important concept of management, that is training of an employee in an organization before putting him on the job. Lack of it may create disaster situation for an organization and the management. Skills management elevates the productivity of the organization because individual employees become aware of the skill set required for specific tasks and upgrade their skills to attain personal goals, thus adding value to the organization. Labdh Prana Sam. As said in Panchtantra, there is no true happiness in what you get without effort. Even an old bullock survives on food that comes his way. The learning from this section talks about that the results from the hard work are sweeter than the profits earned by cheating and deceiving. Thus, one must value those people who do not always think about being wealthy and can be with you at the time of unfavorable situations, The story of Dharm Buddhi and Pap Buddhi aids in understanding this concept. Once there were two friends named as Dharm Buddhi and Pap Buddhi. Dharm Buddhi was helpful and intelligent. On the other hand, Pap Buddhi was cunning and also a cheater. One day, Pap Buddhi thought of a plan to get richer, and so accordingly he said to Dharm Buddhi that, "Dear friend, you are very much intelligent and hard working too, but you are wasting your talent over here. If we move to the city side, we can earn more and become wealthier." To this, Dharm Buddhi agreed and they moved to the city. After earning much money, they thought to return back to their village. On the way towards the village, Pap Buddhi said to Dharm Buddhi that the route is risky. There is the danger of thieves, so we should not carry the entire amount to the village. Instead, we can hide some wealth here and will take out after few days. Again, Dharm Buddhi agreed and did as Pap Buddhi suggested. Then they started moving towards their village and reached safely. Pap Buddhi was cunning and wished to earn more wealth by fewer efforts. Thus, he took hold of all the wealth which they hid on the way. On the contrary, he blamed Dharm Buddhi that he had stolen the entire money. Fighting on this matter, they went to Panchayat to settle down the dispute. There, it was decided that the next day the old tree will declare that who is the culprit. Once more, the father of Pap Buddhi had a plan and he hid his father behind the tree before the decision. And when the tree was asked about the justice, the father of Pap Buddhi, who was hidden behind the tree, declared Dharm Buddhi as a culprit. But this time, Dharm Buddhi also had a plan and he soon broke the fire around the tree. With the fear of fire, the father of Pap Buddhi came out and narrated all the truth. Thus, it was clear who was at fault. By this, Pap Buddhi not only lost all the money but was also insulted in front of many people. In addition to this, the biggest loss was that he lost one of the great, learned and hard-working and helpful friend. HQD lessons that we learn from this story. The story depicts that the association of a wicked person may lead to severe problem or paying for their wrongs. Although in relationship there are situations of conflict, but being ethical is of the key element for the successful relationship building. Healthy workplace friendships require the ability to separate personal and professional feelings. And if one cannot separate that, it will create problems not only for the individual but for the organization as a whole. So, when we are working together on a project, one needs to work towards the goal of the organization, leaving aside their personal greed. In the era of competition, many companies are following unethical practices to earn maximum profit. A company should not have profit maximization as their central goal, rather it should be customer oriented. Each company should have code of ethics which defines the beliefs and values of the organization. Those values and beliefs should be strictly followed by each employee and all business practices. The business houses which routinely engage in unethical practices are ultimately suffering, as their unethical behavior and actions are easier for customers to take notice of. Likewise, the Pap Buddhi came in notice of all the villagers about his wrong intention. If he would have followed ethics and the conduct of real friendship, they both could have had good future. When taking a decision on any of the problems or aspects, one should evaluate it on the following parameters. As per the diagram, we can say that when the decision is taken after considering all the three aspects of profitability, legality and ethics, it is termed as the best decision. If the Pap Buddhi also had done the same, he would not have lost such a skillful friend. So what are the other lessons learned from this story? Association of the wicked people may get you in problematic situations. One should be prepared for all types of future problems and be able to recover from disasters. Dharma Buddhi, before burying the money in the forest, had not ensured any security of his hard-earned money, especially when he was associated with Pap Buddhi since so long and must be aware about his behavior. One should not wait for the wrong to happen to mitigate it. One should have a good public relations, as the perception of the public is a critical part of damage control to protect one's reputation. Aparikshita Karakam. Success is not only about developing oneself. It is about mentoring, nurturing, and motivating all human beings around us. This section talks about developing an intrinsic spirit of self-improvement and passing the same spirit into others who are around. It also guides in implementing the knowledge cautiously. It mainly talks about taking the considered action and working with selfless motives. At this point, the story of the bird with two heads helps us in understanding this section in more depth. Once on the banks of a lake lived a strange bird named as Bharunda. The bird was known as the odd one because it was different from the ordinary bird. He had two heads and two necks, but a single body. Once in the daylight hours, as the Bharunda was roaming around, it found a mouth-watering, yummy-looking fruit of a mix of red and golden color. By gazing on that fruit, one of the heads murmured that this fruit looks like the fruit of heaven and also seems very delicious. Bharunda felt itself to be the luckiest bird to have found this fruit. As a result, it quickly started eating that fruit with extreme delight. Looking and listening to all this, the other head requested the first one that as you are praising this fruit wholeheartedly, therefore, please also allow me to taste it. On this, the first head replied that I have seen this fruit first and thus it is my right to eat the fruit and not share it with you. However, you should not mind if you are not eating this fruit, as indirectly it will reach the stomach, which is common to both of us. So it makes no disparity that who is eating it. On listening to this self-centered reply of first head, the second became silent and disheartened. After few days, when Bharunda was wandering, this time the second head found some strange looking fruit. The second head stated to the first that you insulted and betrayed me few days back by not sharing the delicious fruit. Now today I will not share this fruit with you and will eat it alone. Seeing that fruit, the first one recalled that it is a poisonous fruit and requested another head to kindly not eat that fruit, as it would be harmful for both of us. Making sarcasm of the request, the second head replied that I have found this fruit and it is my right and my decision to eat this fruit, and you are no one to stop me. Consequently, the first head began to cry as it knew the result of this action. The second head ate the poisonous fruit without giving heed to the request of the first one. Thus, as soon as the poison reached the stomach, the bird suffered badly and died. So, what is the human quality development lesson that we can learn from this story? The story explains the important aspect considered and coordinated actions of members of a group, community, or organization. Only this will lead to peace and sustainability. When there are two or more bosses in the department, there can be internal disputes. For example, assigning different work to one employee with the same deadline. When the bosses of a department are in dispute, they may act foolishly and may sacrifice the objectives of the department. Even at organization level, when there are two bosses, that is decision-making authorities, there are also possibilities of committing a tactical mistake. This affects the organizational growth and the interest of the stakeholders of the organization. In short, the lessons that this story presents are: the structure of the department or an organization is very important and should be done carefully, looking into all aspects. It is disastrous for any organizational structure to have two bosses at each level, as we can see in the picture also. This also denotes the very profound proverb of unity is strength. Other lessons learned from the story are: with respect to colleagues, mutual support is better than argument. With respect to family, your family is irreplaceable. No one will care about you as much as your parents and siblings. With respect to marriage, caring for each other is better than disagreement. With respect to communities, helping out our neighbors and letting them help us in turn makes our communities stronger. With respect to school, supporting each other rather than being competitive helps us all to do well. So students, let's now summarize what we have studied in this module. Innumerable tales flourish in Indian lore. These tales have always been an aid for the respective kings and the people for solving the problems like conflicts using intelligence, humor and creative thinking. Panchtantra is one such collection. Collectively, these fables highlight the idea that the utmost form of intellect is that which can be sensibly and practically be functional. These fables underline that wisdom is not only about book learning and memorizing the theories. It is about using the reason and intuition together. Therefore, Panchtantra provides the lessons for individuals in a very lucid form which can be easily understood and applied in all domains of life of an individual. Thank you.